Hey there, everybody. PTPOP here, leading you out of the rabbit hole, one grain of truth at a time. Welcome back to Call Center Survivor. Today, I've got a positive message, believe it or not. Escape the call center. How to turn stress into career success. Believe it or not, it's possible because you'll learn a lot as a call center survivor. You'll learn a lot about business and about how to succeed and survive. So I'm going to talk about that today, and I think it's a great message. And I've covered this in the past a little bit, but I'm going to go into more detail. And what I'm going to do here is start off by saying, working in a call center has a bad vibe to it. We all know it's hard. People outside of the call center world don't know how incredibly hard it is. And they think we're all just idiots, right? They treat us like we're just redheaded stepkids, whatever that means. But I'm going to talk about what you can do with your call center experience. Can it help you get a better job? Or does it trap you in low-wage hell? Now, I've talked about how it can trap you in a low-wage hell. And because that's kind of what I did. I got stuck in it because I was trying to do the art thing and do call center work at the same time. I really had no desire to get outside of that at first. I was in it for a while, and I had no desire to get back into the corporate world. I was trying to become a graphic designer, a web designer, a photographer, the whole thing. But your experience has value. It really does. No matter what your customers say about you and your heritage, no matter what your friends think of you, no matter what you think of you, you've got to start turning this into a positive. Otherwise, it'll eat you alive. Don't believe the hype, the negativity about working in a call center. Call center work isn't just grunt work. It's really not. And you know it, and I know it. You've built valuable, marketable skills that the average person coming out of college does not have. Writing a term paper near the end of a semester is not the same kind of pressure as having to handle 100 calls a day with people screaming at you, supervisors berating you, being called into meetings that you don't want to be in. You are learning valuable skills. And I'm going to go over it with you here. And first I want to go over the career paths you can take out of the call center. These are places you could go with the skills and the knowledge you gain from working in a call center. Now, you can go into careers such as sales and account management because almost every call center today requires you to sell or upsell. You're upselling from one debit card to another. If you're upselling from a home equity line to a home equity loan, whatever it happens to be, that's sales, my friends. That is sales. I learned all kinds of things about sales. I like sales. I happen to kind of get off on trying to turn somebody around. Not, I wasn't sitting there in a state of euphoria, but it was a turn on. It was a rush to get somebody who was initially saying no to, yeah, I'll take that. That's a good idea. So you're learning sales skills and account management. You're learning about customer success and client relations. So if there's a business out there that's looking for somebody who is a client relations expert, bingo. And there's a lot of companies that are looking for somebody kind of like I wouldn't say you qualify for public relations, but if they have a client relations position where you've got to smooth over maybe bad press, a bad situation that happened, or customers that are upset because you have a product that wasn't that good. Like right now, Chevy has Corvettes that are catching on fire. Maybe they need a good client relations person to stand up in front of the world to represent Chevy, GM, and say, hey, sorry, our Corvettes are catching on fire. We understand how hard this is and how frustrating and, yada, yada, yada. We're going to try to make it better for you. Another thing that you're going to be qualified for is administrative support and office coordinator. They always have these positions open for admins. And every admin I've ever met was a woman for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because the bosses are men. I won't even go there. But you are learning to multitask. You're multitasking. You're handling multiple ideas, multiple systems, multiple complaints, multiple attitudes, not just from the customers, but from internally, from your coworkers, from the supervisors, from the directors. Everybody is yelling at you. You've got voices in your head, just not voices, but you've got people push, 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 go faster, just like that Twilight Zone. Last Stop Willoughby, I think it's called, where the guy's like overwhelmed at work. It's push, 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 and he dreams of going back in time to a town called Willoughby, Ohio, which is about 50 miles to the east of me. You've got all kinds of wonderful skills you're learning. You can coordinate office tasks, meetings, but you just have to know how to turn this all into a positive and how to package it on your resume. You can work in technical support and help desk. I was actually at Wells Fargo. I got into technical support right before I left Wells Fargo to go back to school. I saw it happen for myself. Basically, they teach you how to do basic troubleshooting on PCs in the corporate environment. And you take internal calls from employees like yourself whose PC won't start up, or after they upgraded the OS, it fell apart, it doesn't work right, that kind of thing. You're also working on marketing and social media management, because you have to know how to sell the company when you're on those phones. You have to know how to sit there and say, hey, I represent Kamana Wanale and Morton. We're a great company. We've got these products. You're constantly kind of marketing yourself. You're marketing the company. You've got social engagement skills because you're engaging with the public. You're engaging with and marketing to them constantly, because if you can really turn this call center job into a positive, and you know how to talk the talk, empathize, listen, be compassionate, and then at the same time still sell, still give a good customer service call and get that person feeling good when they hang up when they were initially calling you a pickle sucker, that's marketing. You're creating an image for that company with your voice, with your attitude. It's real. It's very real. This one I'm not so certain about. I did some research on this, and it said healthcare scheduling and billing. From what I found about healthcare scheduling and billing, there's all these codes in the world of healthcare codes that you've got to be really privy to. And I have applied to these jobs, and I get turned down from all of them. And I think they want people who know all the codes that the healthcare companies are looking for. And if you don't know those codes, you can screw somebody's bill up pretty bad. So it is a potential career, but you'd have to know somebody, I think, in the business to get into that. Another one that in my research said recruiting and HR coordination. I'm not certain about that, because as a customer service rep, you really don't know anything about human resources or recruiting. You could on the side of the call center, you might be able to go into HR and sit down when they're recruiting for the call center, and if you're interviewing somebody that seems like a good candidate. But I'm not quite certain. I wouldn't dream of that one. Now, the hard skills you gain as a customer service rep, tremendous skills. The CRM tools like Salesforce and Zendesk, everybody's looking for those skills. I've never worked in Salesforce and Zendesk, but I'm sure that I could figure it out. It's probably just a way of managing your accounts. One of the most wonderful skills you get is typing and data entry. You're constantly typing. You're typing all day long. You're taking notes. You're taking careful notes. That is, it's so valuable in the working world if you know how to type and data entry and do it accurately. You're taking notes. You're entering customer information. You're taking payments. You're upselling. You're doing all these different skills. There's no reason why you couldn't apply this to another job. Ticketing systems and chat platforms. everything is chat these days, chat and texting, multitasking under pressure. This is my favorite. If you thrive in a high pressure environment, I sound like one of these job openings for call centers, but if you enjoy it and you enjoy multitasking, that's all you do all day long in these call centers. You are multitasking. You're using multiple systems to review and document customer situations, sales, payments, all of that. It is constant. You're getting pressure from the customer, pressure from your team lead, pressure from your supervisor, pressure from the departmental manager and the director. You're constantly getting emails, you're constantly getting calls, you're constantly taking notes, you're constantly chatting with someone. You're chatting and talking to somebody on the phone at the same time. That, my friends, is invaluable. And if you can nail that down, you can do that and do it well. You're on your way, man. You're just on your way. It's a very marketable skill. Now, the soft skills you master are conflict resolution, active listening, empathy and emotional intelligence, time management, and adaptability. Conflict resolution is a tremendous skill and something you definitely learn in a customer service position. You resolve conflicts almost on every call, every single day, 5 days a week. There's no getting away from it. It is there. And if you can be good at that and you can turn a customer around who started screaming at you, saying that your mother sleeps with dwarves and your company's terrible, and you turn them around, resolve their conflict, and then they're happy and they hang up, or they're somewhat happy, you've learned a tremendous skill. The average person on the street could not handle that kind of stress or not even know what to do with somebody yelling at them. You're also learning active listening skills. You're sitting down, you're taking notes. I used to close my eyes sometimes and have to just listen to what they said and hear for keywords. You're listening for Bill, you're listening for broken, you're listening for keywords, you're listening for what is their true issue. You have to wade through all of the flack that they're shooting at you, the superfluous stuff that they're throwing at you about their grandson who, got eaten by an alligator and all that stuff. When really the fact was that while they're trying to save their son who fell into a marsh in Florida, was being eaten by an alligator, they dropped their cell phone in the marsh and it doesn't work anymore and they want to get it replaced. Trust me, that sounds like a facetious and crazy little storyline, but that's how these people talk. They call in, they're lonely, they're desperate, they don't know how to formulate a thought. And you've got to have active listening skills. And the next thing you've got to have is empathy and emotional intelligence. These are just vital in a working environment today. You can have somebody call in and say to you, my grandson just got eaten by an alligator. And you can somehow empathize with that person, even though in your heart you really don't care. I've taken calls like that where people tell me these horrible sob stories, and I'm just like, in my mind, like, lady, what do you want? Why did you call? You can't say that, though. But if you can empathize and say, I'm really sorry, that's awful. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry your grandson passed that way. That must be a terrible, terrible way to go. Yeah, I'm so sorry. But when you were telling me that story, I understand that you're calling about your cell phone. It fell in the marsh. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'd be glad to help you out with that. Okay, we'll get you a new cell phone sent out to you. Something like that. You have to have some type of emotional intelligence to be able to read people and see that, yeah, they're distraught about a death in the family, but they're really calling because on top of everything else, they need a new cell phone, and their cell phone just took a dive. Time management is the next thing, and it's vital in any job, especially vital in a call center. And the most important thing is to be able to know how to manage your time. Now, your time is kind of managed for you in a call center, but I found when you're on the phone, you have to know how to manage your time on the phone, taking notes, You have to know how to take notes during the call. You can't wait for after call because they only give you about a minute of after call per call. So you've got to know how to manage your time. Take the notes during the call. Have notes on a notepad that you know you're going to put into every call. Copy and paste them. Customer called in, complained about bill. Copy and paste it so you don't have to type. You're just copy and pasting. You're managing your time. You're also managing your time on your breaks. I always had to try to plan my break. In my mind, I knew what I was going to do and where I was going to go. I would go into the bathroom, go really quick, go grab my sandwich, eat my sandwich on my break, so I wouldn't have to take the whole lunch, the half an hour lunch they gave you. I could go in my car and sleep for 15 minutes and get back to my desk within that half hour. You're constantly juggling time. The last bullet point here is you have to know how to be adaptable. Adaptability is vital in any working environment, whether it's here or if you're in a call center, if you're a C-suite person, you have to know how to adapt. But you're constantly adapting in a call center. There's always new rules. There's always new procedures. There's always new systems. There's always new employees. There's always new trainers. There's always new supervisors. The turnover is tremendous in a call center. So you constantly have to adapt to new environments, new people, new procedures. It's something that you might not see it as a marketable tool, but it is. Now, how does this, or does it help or hurt your career? I believe these skills help. They build grit and resilience. They really do. Think about all the crap you go through every day in a call center. It makes you stronger. It makes you faster on your feet. You're able to think quicker, focus on things, figure things out quicker. It proves your people skills and discipline. You may not like people. I'm not fond of the human race. But when I go in and I realize that I'm helping these people, I'm trying to anyway, you're developing people skills, learning how to deal with people in very tough situations, and it's teaching you discipline. Not everybody can be called a pickle suckle. Picker suckle? A picker suckle. I can't say picker suckle. Sicker pickle. A pickle sucker to their face or to their ear and not retaliate with some, barrage of insults back. It takes a lot of discipline to not get angry, to not lash out at a customer, to not lash out at a supervisor. Now, this only hurts you. These experiences in a call center only hurt you if you think you're just a rep. I've run into this. You go and you're like, oh, poor me, I'm in another call center, and oh, God, here we go again. And if you have that attitude, number one, you won't succeed in the call center. Number two, you're never going to see the jewels of information and skills that you're learning right there in front of you. If you let burnout define you, you can't let the burnout get to you. My last call center job at a bank here in Cleveland, the burnout just wrecked me because a lot of things happened that I had no control over, but it just got to me. If you can not let the burnout define you and kind of see the silver lining of all the things you're learning and where you can take it if you don't want to stay in a call center, or if you want to somehow get out of that call center position in that company and get somewhere in another department, you're going to be good as gold. If you don't reframe your experience, okay, I'm saying all the same thing here. If you go in there feeling like, oh, woe is me, I'm a loser, I work in a call center, there's no hope, what am I going to, I just might as well just suck it up and take it. You can reframe your experience and realize, number one, I always said to myself, at least I don't have to face these people that I talked to on the phone. I couldn't do this job if I had to face them over a counter. There would be fisticuffs. There would just be madness. I'm so glad. Just be glad you just got their voice in their ear. Okay? Reframe it also and realize that people out there in this country and around this world are hurting. People are undereducated. They're scared. They live in fear every day. They have no idea. They're confused. They're desperate. People are confused and desperate in this world. They have no idea what products they've signed up for, what they bought. You can reframe it. It helps a lot with your empathy. Now, how do you make the leap from the call center to the job of your dreams? Now, I'm not saying you're definitely going to get this job of your dreams, but you've got to rewrite your resume and focus on the accomplishments, all the things I just mentioned. Upskill. Okay. Also go on to different things like LinkedIn and YouTube. Get free courses and certification. There are certifications in customer service, believe it or not, that you can say, hey, look, I'm a professional customer service representative. I'm certified by this certified organization. You've got a network too. I know the people around you are complete frothing, drooling a-holes. Supervisors are sadistic, sociopath, psychopaths, but learn to kiss their butts and their boots and try to network internally there. Start networking there. Get to know the managers, get to know the director. If you see the director in the break room, say, hey, Bob, how's it going? How about that Browns game today? Or whatever it is. Just learn to bullshit. And they're going to see that and go, hey, this guy might look like a blue-haired guy with tattoos on his neck, but he just came up to me and spoke about something and tried to, these guys at the top, they look for stuff like that. But then network on LinkedIn. I personally have had a little bit of success networking on LinkedIn. I hooked up with a guy I used to know in junior high school and high school. He got me an interview with another company. I didn't get the job. I've met a few people that from previous jobs that remembered me and tried to help me out a little bit. It hasn't helped a lot for me. One thing I can tell you is if you're networking on LinkedIn, try to establish some type of common bond or create some rapport before you jump in and just ask them outright, hey, can I get a job at your company? I did that with somebody I worked with like almost 40 years ago. She remembered me and I said, hey, can you get me a job at your company? Never heard from her again. She just was totally turned off by it because I don't know why, but it wasn't professional. And she was one of these very professional people. Apply boldly. You're more qualified than you think. Okay, don't be afraid to go out there and apply for something. You create and shape your resume that a potential employer goes, hey, this guy's got all of these skills. They're going to want to at least interview you. Don't give up on yourself. It all comes with attitude. If you have skills and you have skills and you realize all the things you've learned, package it and shape it on your resume and know how to talk about it in an interview and be bold. Be confident about what you've done. Now, you've got to take ownership of your situation. You're not stuck. You're not stuck in a call center. Okay. Some of it isn't your choice. They may get rid of you because you burped on a call or something happened that was out of your control and they're going to blame it on you anyway. But if you think you're stuck, you're going to be stuck. Don't think you're stuck. You're surviving in a brutal industry, or you've survived if you're no longer there, but you're surviving. If you're still in a call center, as I say, call center survivor, some people, nobody will buy my t-shirts. I've got this tortured soul saying call center survivor. You're the toughest people in the corporate world. You're not some C-suite guy with the toupee and capped teeth who's got a leather mistress that he flies around in his Learjet and he's paying for her mortgage and all of her jewelry. You're down there in the ditches putting up with people crapping on you. You're tough. You're strong. You survived. That means you have what it takes to thrive outside of that industry. You have more than what it takes. Don't go back to fast food. Don't give up and go back to something. Believe it or not, call centers are far better than a fast food or restaurant job or retail because you don't have people walking in screaming at you. And you see people all the time that walk into a McDonald's or in a Target or into, I'm just knocking everything over here, with a gun or a knife, or they're fucking crazy and they're pulling their pants down, doing all kinds of weird things. You don't have to deal with any of that. But you're also in a corporate setting. You're in a clean, dry environment for the most part. It means you have what it takes. You have built tough skin. You accomplished and acquired great skills. So that's what I had to say about this in an environment. And I'd like you all to just think about, the situation you're in. It's all how you view it in your head. I know that sounds like Dr. Phil BS, but it's really not, because you're here to survive. You're here to put food on the table for your wife, or your husband, or your kids, or your mom, or your dad. You're here to make the most out of this life. And if you just sit in this call center job like, oh man, I got a call center job and I suck, and people yell at me. Yeah, I make fun of that. I do. I've made some money here on this channel by making fun of it. But you've got to learn how to package it in your mind, see the vital skills you've learned, and then take that to the next level. It's possible. It's very possible. Like myself, I've learned a lot in the corporate world, both working traditional corporate and call center world. Now I'm applying that to everything here. I go out here and try to sell myself and sell my paintings and my photography, my music, and all that stuff. But what I'd like you to do today is, you've liked my message here, like, comment, subscribe, share your story below in the comments. And, I can't guarantee anything. It's all up to you, man. It's all up to each of us to try to make the most out of the time we have here on this planet, and don't let these, as my father-in-law would say, Peter, don't let the bastards get you down. So I'm PTPOP, leading you out of the rabbit hole one grain of truth at a time. And I wish you all a good day, and I bid you all hasta la vista, baby.
Walk 1,000 miles in your shoes. My clothes are torn and tattered, my eagle blue. And I think I understand.
Would you like fries with that? Would you like fries with that?